Hey everyone, welcome to Okaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. And today we are reviewing and analyzing chapter 322 of My Hero Academia. It was a banger. Cannot wait to get into it. Before that though, if this is your first time here or you've been here already but haven't done so already, I would appreciate the mess out of liking, subscribing. I would please join my League of Otaku. Would mean the absolute world to me. So please go ahead and do that. And without further ado, let's get into this chapter review. All right, guys, chapter 322 of My Hero Academia, Murder God Dynamite. Bruh, I'm not crying, you're crying. Yo, this chapter, just onions everywhere, onions everywhere, onions everywhere. It starts off where we left off last time. Deku flying through the air with Lita, and you see Kirishima at the bottom, and he goes and catches them. We get a little panel of Invisible Girl and Naval Laser, right? They didn't really do much, but they were there, right? Yeah, hurrah, hurrah, team. I'm gonna skip all of that, right? Kirishima says some stuff to actually no, I'm not gonna skip this part. Kirishima says something about a boy he read in the news. And I love moments like this because this happens in real life where you may have heard of someone or heard of something that happened, but you never had a actual connection with the person that happened to at the time. But later on, you're like, oh my God, that was you. So basically, Kirishima talks about the very beginning of My Hero Academia, where that blob monster or whatever consumes Bakugo and almost kills him. And Deku, without any form of power or ability or whatever, it's where we first hear a hero just acts. And we see Deku just act and go to save Bakugo, even though there was no chance in hell of him being able to rescue him. Luckily, All Might was there and settled it. But I thought that was such an amazing callback. I thought that was super dope. And I love how just things have come full circle. And I just love how all the students of Class A have just been going over and over and over just how much Deku has influenced their lives, has improved their lives, how much respect they have for him and everything he's done for them, right? But nothing amounts to what happens, the dialogue between Deku and Bakugo. Since episode 1, from the jump, I have not liked this nigga. I do not fuck with bullies. I simply don't. I don't fuck with them. I don't like them. I don't like what they stand for. I don't like why they bully. I just, if you're getting bullied, call me over. We'll score up. I'll help you out because I can't stand that shit. And for the longest time, I always hated him. And I knew that there would be a moment somewhere down the road that he was going to get some kind of redemption. Somewhere down the road, he was going to become likable. Somewhere down the road, we were going to get some kind of sobby backstory about why, I don't know, his parents neglected him or something. And that's why he grew up to be a dick because, basically something that was going to make us feel bad for him. But the mangaka did something I did not expect and that I totally love. And I'm happy he went this direction instead of the other stuff. So before we even get there, Bakugo is just lecturing him. And he's like, do you remember what I told you after I got stabbed? Or technically it should have been before I got stabbed by Shigaraki. It was like, don't think that you're going to do this alone or by yourself. And then he was like, at that moment, I moved without thinking like a hero does. And I got stabbed. Because at that moment, he knew that there was something greater than himself. That was probably Bakugo's first selfless act. This entire series, Bakugo hasn't necessarily been a bad guy. Yes, he was a bully. Yes, he was a jerk. But in terms of being a bad guy, a villain, no. Yes, he likes to pretend he is that. Likes to pretend, he goes hard. he's the greatest. He has no fears, and that like he's willing. He was a little bit too gung ho to play the villain during that one My Hero test, right? But at the end of the day, he's always just strove to be a great hero, and his toxicity has just come from that. It's like me in League. Like at the end of the day, I always just wanted to be a great League of Legends player, and sometimes it breeds a little toxicity, but just the fact that this chapter was Bakugo being super vulnerable. And I don't know about you, but there's just whenever you see someone or witness complete and utter vulnerability, it just pierces you. Because, we are so used to people beating around the bush, hiding their true intentions, hiding their true feelings. And we've seen that with Bakugo. He's been hiding behind this persona of like, I'm super hard, I'm not scared of anything, I'm the super explosive, destructive murder god, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff he's been hiding behind, but it's all been insecurity, and he finally lets it out. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, and one thing I would be remiss if I did not mention, I absolutely loved and fell in love with the paneling the mangaka used here. So you have them talking, and you have them talking as little kids. The mangaka pretty much shows Deku and Bakugo at various stages in their life. He shows them at like basically in elementary school, shows them in middle school, and then shows them in UA their progress. And I love how he did it because do you remember what happened? I want to say last chapter where Leto was like, "Hey, extending a hand to a child in pain or a child suffering or a child who needs help is a hero's job, right?" And so it brings us back to the fact that yes, he's trying to be a hero, yes, he's trying to do all these things, but at the end of the day, this man is a high school kid. Emphasis on kid, a high school kid. He's going through a lot. He's a kid who has the weight of the world on his shoulders, quite literally. If he is unable to defeat All For One is going to go out and spread across the entire world. First, he's going to start with Japan. And if he takes over Japan, I don't know what makes you think he's going to stop there. He's going to go for all of world conquest. He's going to keep collecting quirks. He's going to keep growing his army until, his inevitable goals are met. And what those goals are, we truly don't know yet. As of right now, we just know he wants to amass a bunch of power, right? He just wants to amass a bunch of power and, maintain eternal life, essentially, pretty much, right? That's what we're kind of getting the gist of. I think we're gonna get more along his plans down the road, but right now we have enough to go based off of, right? And I don't know, just the sheer vulnerability of Bakugo basically being like, my entire life I've been a dick to you. I've been a head ass. I've been a head ass motherfucker. I've bullied you. I've chastised you. I tried to oppress you. I tried to flex my superiority to you. And it was all along because I was insecure. I always bullied you because, you were quirkless. I thought I was better than you. But at the same time, while you were quirkless, you still were doing heroic things. You still didn't let that, put you down. And that made me upset. And while I thought I was better than you because I simply, by merit of having a quirk alone, I realized that somehow I still felt like you superseded me, you surpassed me. And it's the truth. It's the truth. If Deku had a quirk and had the mind state and the work ethic that he's had his entire life, who knows what could have happened? The sky's the limit. Well, we do know what would have happened. Pretty much what's happening now. But he won the quirk lottery in All For One. One for All. He won the quirk lottery. And then I think that resentment from going from this dude's quirkless to this dude's quirkless, but he still, goes out of his way to help people, to be a good person. He went out of his way to save me, even though he had no chance to. and until now, where it's, oh my god, he has this incredible quirk, and without his quirk he was already leagues better than me as a human being. So now he's leagues better than me both as a hero and as a human being. What does that make me? Bro, this chapter, this scene really got me in my feels, bro. And on top of that, it's one of those moments when the asshole apologizes, when the villain admits they're wrong, the world stands still. Everyone was shook. It's like Vegeta, like after, trying to, like, take over Earth, or just, it would be like Vegeta right now in Super. It would be like Vegeta right now in Super going, hey guys, I know I never said this, but you know how me and Nappa showed up and tried to, like, fuck up the planet and, like, kill everyone and, like, fuck everything? Yeah, my bad about that. I was a real dick. I was a real head ass motherfucker. Uh, you know, um, I get in my head sometimes that, I'm the Prince of Saiyans, and as the Prince of Saiyans, I'm expected to do all these things, and I have all these expectations of myself, and I had to watch my planet get destroyed, and I was unable to do anything. I never lived up to the expectations of my father, and then on top of that, I ended up working for and being a lackey to the person that was responsible for destroying my planet, X, and all this other stuff, and like I've always felt like I don't belong. And then I had this commoner, this common Saiyan achieve greater power than me, blah blah blah. This scene would literally be like Vegeta laying it all out on the line, which to this day he is not. I don't think he's ever, like, maybe he's expressed some remorse for what he's done, but he's never explicitly apologized. He's never made it, like, abundantly clear that he was in the wrong, that he's done some really screwed up things. Maybe I'm misremembering, but he really hasn't. And if Vegeta were to do that, it would have the profound effect that this chapter had for me. Honestly, I think that the title of the chapter, Murder Explosion God Dynamite or whatever, was a subversion of, like, what the expectations of this chapter. You read that and you're like, oh my god, what's Bakugo about to do? Oh my god, Bakugo, Murder Explosion King. But then he does the complete opposite, and it's just super, like, vulnerable, feely King. I was like, I mean, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But basically, like, it was the complete opposite of what his name is. His name brings, like, power, doom, blah blah blah, destruction. But what he gave us was earnesty, sincerity, uh, candor, right? And it hit. It hit so hard. And I think the fact that, it came from Bakugo, the fact that Deku, he's Deku's longest rival slash friend slash frenemy slash enemy. The fact that it came from someone like Bakugo, that would never in a million years you could dream of him doing something like this, made Deku like introspectively reflect on himself, because in his head he has to be like, damn, if Bakugo is able to admit to this, if Bakugo is able to, like, swallow his pride, his ego, and, like, you know, reveal himself, I should be able to do the same thing. And in that moment, and I think it was necessary. I think it had to be Bakugo. And like I said before, I wanted it to be Bakugo. I wanted the three people that talked to Deku to be Bakugo, Shoto, and Okaku, because they're all important people to Deku's life. They all have various perspectives. You have Bakugo as, the school bully, the rival. You have Shoto as, he had family trauma. And then you have Okaku as the love interest, the one that always believed in Deku, the one that has always been closest to him since, going to UA, and always believed in him. The one that, he left a great impression on, because if it wasn't for him, she would have failed. Literally, like, she would not be in Class A. If it was not for Deku, not only would she not be in Class A, she might be dead. She might be dead. Deku had to go and, like, put his life on the line to save her during their trial. And so I think that, like, a word from these people mean the most. But out of all these people, definitely Bakugo. Definitely Bakugo. And then I just love how at that moment Deku just has a blast of wow, I screwed up. I'm wrong. And he just kind of collapses like he know, and it's just I love how both the paneling, the wording, all that stuff just commingles and comes together into the conclusion that is Deku just collapsing, realizing he's been holding the world on his shoulders for too long. He doesn't need to do it, and just collapses in Bakugo's arms. What a touching moment! What a powerful moment! What great storytelling there! And Chef's Kiss was amazing, and I just love how like he's like, man, if Bakugo is able to, hold his ego back and like apologize, I can hold my ego back and apologize and realize, you know what, it was really screwed up. It was really fucked up of me to say, you guys, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but like you guys can't help out. You guys can't stand up to All for One. You guys are pretty much useless. Your burdens. You're in my way. He didn't say that, but that's what he said. Those weren't the words he used, but using the words he used, that's the feeling he conveyed. I don't think you guys are useful enough that I can trust or risk you guys playing. It's like LeBron in basketball, because this is big right now. Everyone hates LeBron and all that stuff. But it's like if LeBron was like, I'm going out by myself. Don't come off the you guys are useless. I'm just gonna do this on my own 1v5. I'm gonna play basketball 1v5. I do not care how good at basketball you are. You could have the combined talents of Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, the athleticism of Giannis, the the physical domination of Shaq. You are not winning a basketball game 1v5. And that's kind of tantamount to what Deku's been trying to do. I am going to try to take on this whole organization core of villains, the strongest villain in the world that even All Might, the greatest hero in the world, wasn't able to do. I'm going to do that on my own. I'm going to take that on my own. And they were just like, bro, you need us. We need each other. This is a we're all in this together. Like we're all needed. Being a hero is about that. Even like I was making fun of, Kirishima earlier catching both Lita and Deku, but that's at the end of the day, we all have roles to play. One thing that I used to hate growing up, because I was always raised I'm better than people. I should always do better than people. Yada 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 yada. The one thing I was always told was you you shouldn't worry about, like, sometimes you shouldn't worry about grades and IQ tests. You should, but the thing is, like IQ test is like trying to measure a fish's ability to climb a tree or something, right? Just because a fish cannot climb a tree does not make them dumb or useless. That's just not what they do. They're good at swimming. And so you see that with, like, some people are good at rescue, some people are good at fighting, some people are good at supporting. That's what's going to beat All for One at the end of the day. And you even hear it in his quirk's name, All for One, the selfishness of it all. All for one, all for me. I do this all for myself. And yes, I have all these villains and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's going to be my selfish desires. I really do hope and look forward to all for One shooting himself in the foot, because he tries to do everything by himself. He tries to take on the burden alone. He doesn't trust people enough. He gets too full of himself, and that will be his own undoing. What Deku decided he wasn't going to do, he does, and that screws him. I'm looking forward to that so much. But yeah, man, I just love that series of events. I love that paneling of showing them aging, and I just think this is the beginning of something beautiful. I think we've squashed what needed to be squashed. Yaoyorozu, I forget her name, the one that can create, that has the creation quirk, pretty much says, okay, that's phase one, but now that's what we got rid of one, obstacle, one roadblock, but now, it gets hard from here, because yeah, this was the easy part. This was the easy part, getting Deku back. Dark Deku retrieval arc complete, good, dope, happy to see it. But now, okay, Time to get down to business. What we've all been trying to do, taking down All for One. How do we get up? How do we go about it? So that was cool. So Deku passes out and he wakes up. He's back at UA. They got him back. Super happy. And we see 13. Bro, that was actually, I was losing my mind. I was like, wait, is that 13? Is that 13? I had no clue that 13 was a girl. Had no clue that 13 was so cute. 13 looks adorable. Like 13 is not the appearance I would have imagined 13 being. It's kind of like, what's that? Who's the Fat Chew or whatever his name was. Fat Chew. Let's call him Fat Chew. Like how like his real form or whatever, his skinny form is like kind of good looking as hell and like ripped and like looks nothing like his standard fat form. Like it was that, like I love being shocked like that, and I love seeing stuff like that. So I thought that was super cool that we finally got to see that. I don't know why. For the longest time I thought that she was maybe just some kind of like living black hole, right? And that's like the suit was to contain her and her abilities and whatnot. So that was super cool to see. Anyway, we don't get to enjoy ourselves for long. Like I said, this is a really sad chapter in two ways. It's sad the first way just because of, you know, the catharsis of it all. Finally, you know, Bakugo caving and being vulnerable, Dekugo caving and giving in and accepting that he needs help from his friends and support from them. But then we have what he was afraid of in the first place. He goes to UA and we see UA, it's all, you know, decked out, armored up, and like we're told that like this isn't even like the thick of it, man. Like there's some crazy newfangled tech. I can't wait to see the League of Villains try to break in and we get to see the defense mechanism cut on. But literally it seems like somehow, some way, the civilians that were being housed in UA for their protection have caught wind of the fact that Deku is here. Deku, the one with a one for all that All for One is looking for. AKA the number one target of the biggest villain in the world is around them. The people that came here to get away from that, to be protected from that, they brought danger right to them. To be honest with you, I totally kind of relate to them. I can totally kind of see their point. But screw them, F them, they're not the main characters of this series, so fuck them.
Cause fuck them, that's why.
They're really not. They're really not. So I just felt really bad because literally you can see it in Deku's eyes. Once again, the mangaka does a great job portraying like just the annoyance and like sadness of Deku. And literally I just in my head I could feel Deku being like, this is it I was fucking talking about. This is the exact reason I didn't want to come back here. Two reasons. One, I didn't want to put I didn't think you guys would be able to, you know, fight All for One and it would be dangerous for you. And second of all, I would be putting everyone around me in danger. They're saying they're voicing my biggest deep-rooted fears. I said this. I said that it was going to be like this. And during this scene, honestly, I could not stop thinking about Death Arms. You guys remember him, the pro hero that retired like 5-6 chapters ago or something like that, just because of the pressure. You have to realize civilians are freaking selfish, bro. Friggin' all they care about is themselves. And when you come up with an organization like Heroes that your sole job is to protect people, people get entitled. It's like when you see cops and people are like, I pay your paycheck, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm totally Black Lives Matter. I'm also a proponent of dictating and, you know, deciphering a situation as it comes. There are some times where the police are way in the wrong, and then there are some times where civilians are in the wrong. And I think that you have to take it case by case and look at the evidence and what's happening. But in this scenario, they're being completely ridiculous, being completely outlandish, right? Like we know Deku. They don't know Deku. We know what he's been put through. We know what he's trying to do. We know that this is a responsibility and task that he put upon himself, right? If it wasn't Deku, it would be someone else. Someone had to inherit One for All, right? And also on top of someone having to inherit One for All, someone has to use One for All to fight All for One. because you get mad at Deku, blah blah this, that, other. Why is he here? But at the same time, if he's not here, you guys are screwed. And so you guys need to have like a modicum of some kind of decorum and appreciation for what UA, the pro heroes, and what Deku was trying to do for you. And I felt super bad about it, but I'm glad because at the end, but then it was a flip side, right? Because you're watching that scene and you're like, what the hell? Deku was right. They're ungrateful, they hate him, he's putting them in danger. But at the same time, you have that flip side of, look, screw that. We're your friends. We're here for you. Ignore them. They're gonna be mad, but they don't understand. They're being dumb. It's like with parents, like when their kids are acting up. Yeah, they're acting up, but they don't know that what we're doing for them is for the best. And so we're just gonna keep doing what is the best for them. And down the road, they'll see that and they'll apologize. And if not, fuck it, screw them. But like, we don't do this for admiration. We don't do this for appreciation. We don't do this for money. We don't do this for accolades. We don't do this for any of that. We do this because at the end of the day, to be a hero means helping people, even if they're ungrateful, even if they don't want your help, even if they begrudgingly accept your help. That's the nature of being a hero. And I just love that the fact that now that Deku is here, because he was probably hearing all this stuff before, not so much that he was putting these guys in danger, but oh, curse that Deku, curse that the wielder of One for All. If it wasn't for him, what's his name? All for One wouldn't be doing this, being ignorant and dumb. And Deku, because he's not working with anyone, is just gonna have ruminations in his head, or ruminations, however you want to pronounce it, in his head, of just on a feedback loop of just hearing this and taking the blame and taking the blame. But now he's surrounded by friends. Now he's surrounded by people that love and care about him and that are going to tell him, hey, ignore that shit, or hey, they're dumb, or hey, they don't know the situation, or hey, we know you're working hard, or hey, we're busting our ass, or hey, you want to go get a smoothie, hey, you want to go get a pizza with the boys. So he's in a much better environment. And people don't realize that the environment you're in is conducive to how you do. Right? If you're depressed and all you do is just stay in your room and, just wallow and sleep, you're just going to breed a depressed atmosphere, right? But if you force yourself to go out, if you try, and by the way, I know it's hard. I'm not trying to get into, mental health. I have problems with mental health. So I'm not trying to say what you're doing is bad or like you should just get up and exercise. I would never tell anyone that. But I am saying that your environment is conducive to whatever you're doing. And so now that he has an environment of not only friends that are going to tell him, hey, it's okay, ignore them, we got this, but he can actively plan with them. He can actively train with them. He can actively see people working, and he can actively see, mechanisms towards progress being made. And that's what he needs right now. I have a smile on my face. As much as I was making jokes about onions and, this chapter being sad, it was super heartwarming. It was super emotion heavy and fulfilling. But like at the end of the day, I cannot stop smiling just because of how genuine it was in every sense of the way. If you saw my reviews from the last chapters, this is what I've been waiting for. I've wanted this for so long, and the payback has been absolutely phenomenal. Payoff, I should say. Anyway, this has been Otaku Talk OD. If you liked my review, please, please, please like, share, and subscribe. Would mean the world to me. Join my League of Otaku. And without much further ado, take care. Peace. I'll see you guys later.